A pleasant good evening to everybody. This is DNO coming live from the what is called Hilton Hill in Crevice River, Kalinago territory. I welcome each and every one of you, viewers who are going to join us. And we are going to have a discussion on Nwèl, Ankò. That is the theme for tonight. So Nwèl, Ankò. And we're going to hear from a number of people who are here this evening. As you can see, we have a number of guys sitting there waiting for to start the discussion. So it's really going to be a discussion about Christmas in this area. So without further ado, my dear friends, I'm going to introduce you to our musician who will start us off tonight with a little serenade song.
Christmas used to be like, what it is like now, and what we would like to see going on. So we're just throwing this question. It's a general question to all of the people who are here. What you think really influenced Christmas at your time when you were growing up? What was Christmas like? Mr. Rabbit,
when we were growing up as a little boy, I mean, we're talking about in the late 50s, early 60s, in terms of my age. But I still want to go a little bit further back. Back in those days, in the Kingston area and in the Kalinago area, they used to run serenade from the time last St. Catherine reached the November, you know, the end of November there, the period of the church calendar, which is Advent. And then, you know, the serenade starts, so it's probably like the last week in October. And then people making their rounds and so on, and it climaxes around Christmas Eve and all of that. So now that tradition has been maintained over the years since then, since my grandparents, great-grandparents' generation in the area, and people of the Kalinago territory as well, when the Kalinago territory got consolidated as the Kalinago territory. Before it was just a handful of families scattered all over the place. So in that sense, the serenade tradition became, you know, consolidated, as I was saying. You have different bands now, you know, different groups of musicians. So you remember in that case, for example, you would have fellas like Roxon Dura and, you know, Medland Dura. These are the older heads, we call them, really, you know, put the stamp on how we celebrate and do the serenade and the Christmas in the area. And then fast forwarding a little bit, we entered our generation. And then we continued the tradition, and eventually we created the band called Balakayo. Because people were asking, well, he won't kill everyone, also Balakayo kill a man, Balaka and the boys, you know. So that's how it is. And then you had Shinzo in Balaka. Shinzo used to do the thing. And then later on you had other, you know, the groups like the Carifuna and Carina in more recent times, and other people like our partner, what's his name he plays the accordion too, from more recent vintage. Zing, man. So the thing is evolving, and then you have fellas in Sensi as well.
Right, you have like
more installed and then fellas, you know, so and play the accordion as well. So we have that sort of very strong seminal tradition. And of course, we also have the rest of the thing that goes with it too. We are talking about the Ankò, you know, the slaughtering of animals, of the cows and the pigs, and that kind of thing. So that goes, and of course, people painting their houses. I mean, it still goes on to everybody to put up a I mean, it's cleaning the yard, sweeping up and so on, scrubbing the floors. You know, people are preparing to go to Roseau back in the days and get toys for the children. I remember as a little boy, when my father went to Roseau, and we waited for him all very past midnight until he reached home, you know, it's all road kind of thing, you know, and bring a little bebel for us, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was part of that, you know. Anyway, so that is the long and short. So it had about food, it had about the toys, it had about the seminar, and it had the preparations that go with it, and the midnight mass and all that. So the tradition evolved today a bit more modernized, but the basic tradition in Atkinson and Kalinago territory remains the same.
But I think earlier when you were hinting that you actually have to go to service all the way from Atkinson to Salida.
Yeah.
And I know that, I remember earlier when we were just talking that the band would be playing before the midnight mass. They would stop midnight mass. After that, you're back in the action. So did you get to experience?
I got to experience that
That's
big time. I remember we had to walk all the way to Salida. We were young people, but we had to walk to Salida. There was no road as it is today. We are highway, but we had to do the mud tracks and get to Salida, cross the river, and change shoes. As a matter of fact, when we got to the church, and there was this hall, and I remember they had dance starting maybe or in the school 8 o'clock, and when it was close to midnight, on the stroke of midnight, when the mass was going to start, the dance ceased, and the people were so disciplined. Nobody ever said, well, let the priest do his thing, and you know, everybody just moved together, and people went to the mass, midnight mass, and then after midnight mass, everybody went into celebration again, back into the dance hall. And so I remember that clearly, and it was just everybody being together at that time. It was just a spirit of cooperation, a spirit of sharing. That spirit was just alive, and you don't see it today. But it was really, really there among the people, and old and young. It wasn't, you know, you got to be a teenager, and you were longing for it to be a teenager to join the seminary band, which is when I did. I just used to admire the older heads in it, coming to my parents' house and doing seminar, but you know, you just long to be part of it because it was so exciting. It was just a nice vibes then.
You know, I sometimes wonder whether rural Christmas was much more interesting and exciting than the urban, because I remember growing up, going to Roseau was a big thing, you know, we moved by trucks and lorries to be, in terms of the description, what we call a bus is really a van. So, you know, the improvised roof, you remember, these wooden truck boxes, and you go down to town, people probably go down to town once, twice, 3 times for the most in a year. So it was a time when a lot of shopping was done, you know, you'd have to buy linoleum, paint, curtains, a pair of shoes. Children were looking forward to that pair of shoes.
Special food and drink too.
Exactly, because at the time, I remember growing up, almost every household used to have 1 or 2 pigs. You remember that?
Yes.
And then goats, and then you would have the sprinkling of cattle. And what I thought was very interesting was that although this Christmas to me was, and it was a healthier time at the time too. Why I say so? The terriers did not have disease, yams were, fish was plentiful, so everything was just, Christmas was just that big time. It was the climax of the year. But for you growing up, what about preparations you saw most in your house? Was it
the love, as when I used to be love, the kind of love the communities had. You had a lot of battering, like you just mentioned goats and sheep and fish and whatever. So you have pig, I have goat. You kill your pig, I kill my goat. We exchange meat, you know, and that was rampant around. You know, people were just sharing, and the signal band would be going out without fear of people not opening. For the young people, you always open their door for you to come in and receive you with some cereal songs. So for me, well, growing up in my time, Christmas could never come fast enough for me. Nowadays, Christmas, before you beat your eyes, Christmas. But when we were growing up, like, boy, a whole year for Christmas to go, and you waited for Christmas, you waited so long. When Christmas comes, then you have all your toys, and you know, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 different toys, your cock gun, your salpet gun, your toupee, or whatever. You know,
remember the story. Remember you talked about the cock gun this time, right?
Yeah.
Remember there was a single barrel and there was a double barrel. I remember Mal from Ruben in their kitchen hall. I poked my head in and he gave me boom, and it was a double barrel. So that's how interesting. And I was like, you know, that really strong. But we talk about I'm a food guy. I love food. What was it? Growing up in your time, I know we have changed now, we have evolved into the macaroni and cheese, but growing up in your time, for instance, what was the food that you ate at Christmas?
Okay, well, growing up, I remember clearly every Christmas, my grandma from La Plaine, she would send across smoked meat for us, smoked pork basically. And that smoked pork had a special flavor. I really don't know what they used to add to it. It was no chemical, by the way, it was no chemical. I think it was probably just the years they were using. And that smoked meat was just so good. These days it's ham and turkey. We didn't know ham and turkey growing up. All we knew was that smoked pork and our beef soup. You couldn't pass Christmas without a beef soup. And along with that, we had, the older, our parents would use something called vermouth. I don't know if you remember. Noily Pratt. Noily Pratt. That was it's a drink.
Okay.
And they would buy their stout. You know, now you have Guinness and what's the other one, Mackissen. We didn't know that. We knew Tennant stout. Tennant stout we used it to make shodo. And Christmas morning, every home I think had a shodo. You had to wake up. First drink was our shodo. Well, aside of coffee, of course, because the coffee wasn't missing. And the coffee wasn't Nescafe. The coffee was pure local coffee, strong local coffee. They use the sweet the shodo, mix the egg and the milk and stuff. And it was just so healthy, so different. So now, you know, it's...
So used to make a coffee because it was like a tashi.
Yeah, you should send the cup actually, the enamel cup.
Really?
Yeah.
Black coffee.
We didn't know tea cup, we knew the enamel cup. It's like we gave it a special taste.
Dead boy.
Yeah.
When running the seminar, we used to target our coffee areas, you know.
Yeah.
Where we went for our special drinks, you know. We knew people who used to be indulging in a lot of local wines. So when we want local wines, like plantain wine and blah blah blah, blah, we go to a certain spot. But for me, by Christmas morning coffee was by
Another interesting thing
she had a very special blend.
of coffee.
Yes.
Local.
The way she made it.
I think I can tell people churn coffee differently. You know. Nowadays people but people allow coffee to sweat, as they would say, to ferment, but you don't see that process.
Aside of that, we didn't use coffee makers like we have now. They used a wet. That was a cloth, like a pocket, basically, and they brewed the coffee in that. So, and the coffee itself was just, I don't know, I think Dominica is the best coffee. So that coffee had a special taste. And I mean, you just couldn't wake up to no coffee. To this day, we still drink coffee, of course.
Well, there's the lagoon aspect of it. Greg, talking about the lagoon. I know there was the car off, and then, what do you know about the lagoon?
That's very
Yeah, well, back in the days, I mean, for example, you had the local brew,
Right.
what we call Zaid, and they had the local brew. And then that also, well, that was kind of illegal, but then the cash rum, we're talking about one buco.
Right.
You understand? That's all, one thing, that's all buco. But the rum is the good.
Everybody had their dungeon there.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I can have a
Yeah.
bottle of their special.
Right.
Yeah. And then, of course, that evolved into modern time, evolving, drinks that we know now, but the tradition is essentially the same. Different. And we talk about, they talk about the sorrel, and that's the non-alcoholic beverages. And then some people nowadays too, they specialize in rum punches too.
Yeah.
And make some very lovely rum punches. And some of as Alice and Ankò said, you have some people that mix different type of punches and special brew, what?
There was also,
Yeah.
I remember there also was, a lot of people used to make something called anisette.
Yeah, and you said
Anisette. Everybody had their tree by their house. I mean, in those days, everybody grew stuff that they could use. So the anisette they would make, and that was a special drink. When you went by a house, they would offer you anisette. I mean, I can still take the smell of anisette. No, I don't see that anymore.
And there was another thing called noyo.
No,
You get that in the bush.
Right.
You get that in the village.
Yeah, the noyo was,
It's like a little vanilla.
yeah, almost like vanilla.
Vanilla essence, so
Yeah.
it flavors your drinks.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a very thing.
Yeah.
Right now, and then there's another direction of that too, because in the days up to Christmas, we used to go and get wood. That the getting of wood, nowadays we have progress, but the getting of wood for Christmas, what they call Christmas wood.
That's very good.
And man go in the bush and boisiab now was political work. The boisiab because they don't light in the best, or burning the best, boisiab fire.
And remember, just when you cooking food, you have your guard house and if you're meat
Exactly.
salad.
Try to meet,
I was
yes.
about to say, because we had no refrigeration, the way of preserving meats and stuff in the past is
You have to
to
smoke.
smoke and salt, and smoke. So wood was, you had to get your Christmas wood, man. Yeah.
And there's something I think we're missing out on, because we don't dwell on food for too much, but remember Pudesa and Juku?
Oh yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that was
That was a must.
That was a must. You get up in the morning. In fact, I remember talking about the lagoon. If you were to have your lagoon, you had to have Buddhist afterwards. It was supposed to help get rid of the hangover, I suppose.
I hear better Macagaspi. Nothing goes to it.
Flushing. Yeah,
Nothing
And
goes
the
to
thing
it.
about it is that we have the slaughtering of animals, but the people use the very blood and the skin and every part,
All
the
that.
head, the feet, everything, and just it's like put it back into the cooking. So nothing was lost really, and it was healthy too. You didn't think about like these days, boudin. They make it boudin now, but where is the blood coming from? Nobody's asking that question. What you never heard a pig or some cow was slaughtered, but you ain't people have boudin around anymore.
But the other
Where is
interesting
that
thing
blood
is,
from?
you could have seen better, meaning
Right.
when you think you're collecting the blood, but they do that across the Muslim world, and I think they call halal meat and all of that. It's
Yeah.
a principle, you basically could have seen and better.
Even that itself was a little time, when you slaughtering up
Yeah.
animals, fellas go there and with their little alki and their whatever, and while they slaughter him, they singing, Christmas songs, and people sharing, jokes and stuff, and they slaughtering their animal.
Maybe you could hash. Everybody you could hash.
So they have to love individual to do the killing. Next thing you know, you make a mess with the hash and he escape.
I remember that. I remember exactly the time that call on Mr. Benji, that axe went fast, and that cow started jumping up, and everyone scattered because you don't have to do very slow.
Yeah.
So, but it is interesting too that that what we are saying in terms of together, that's how we were speaking. Moving, I realized Christmas was also a time, I actually saw that on more than one occasion, reconciliation prayers. You'd have probably one to neighbor what their issues throughout the year. When Christmas came, that person would fully say, we now for the carol, you have to come to your home, and there it was, friends once again. So I think that we have lost
that was better done in the past than now.
I mean, that was,
yeah, in the past that was.
Yeah, back in the
Because
day,
in the past, you see people, and that is the whole thing about church too, people were more churchy, and more, towards God. Nowadays, people don't really care so much.
Because everything was really...
everything is commercialized now.
Yeah.
Everything is so commercialized that the actual meaning of Christmas is totally lost. And so, more and more, you're seeing less people in church, for midnight mass, for example.
Right.
And what is happening now, back in the day when we were growing up as young people, midnight mass was dead on midnight.
Yeah.
These days you hear midnight mass at 10 o'clock, midnight mass at 8 o'clock, and you wonder, well, what is midnight mass? And but at 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, people are also shopping and doing their thing, and they're not bothered about the midnight or the real spirit meaning of
Jesus and Christmas.
Jesus is coming Christmas.
But it's interesting that you brought that point because I have that there, because I'm saying that here it is we are discussing what Christmas used to be like. And earlier on I was telling someone that what is it that the corporate citizen can actually do, because I think that most of you will probably agree with me that Christmas is now being used as a promotional tool, and people sell it.
That's exactly what it is.
You have heard of any of the business places that I know of sponsoring a carol or a seminar in the territory, for instance,
That's true.
And we expect to see the traditional Christmas continue, but it cannot continue unless we have that sort of injection from the corporate, from
one thing, I mean, not to knock them too hard.
No, not too hard.
But the corporate community.
The
corporate community, generally speaking, hire the bands, bring on the bands, because we, Banaka, we play roles over different places. And not only we alone, some of the other bands. So then you find that is happening, and it's still happening basically. It used to happen back when the whole Christmas thing got more commercialized and the whole shopping thing became, and that was, I think, I can't know the business places on that.
Well, I don't say no, I'm saying that we could be seeing a little bit more, in terms of probably their presence, for instance, their being. But one of the things I was also thinking, in terms of, we have gone through that process of having that nice communal type Christmas, and we have children who are 5, 8 years. What do we do? What do we tell them? Because I think we all here agree that Christmas has kind of lost what growing up when you go sort of animal, you give the big neck. Nowadays you'll be very lucky someone gives you a big neck.
I always go back because it was just a different time, and I'm happy I got best of both worlds, because you can compare. When we were growing up, Gregory and I, and we are siblings, so our house was a wooden house. And back in the day, we had a big mansion, and the seminar group would come to our house. My parents would never say, "You can't enter." We had a veranda, so the seminar band would enter, quietly of course, and then they burst into music, and then they're here. And then they do the speech, they do the usual thing, and then they open the door for these people to go. It's not like these days, you think twice about opening up. Our parents opened up, and the table was set with coffee, with whatever drink, with
bread,
whatever snack, and it was all there. And the seminar band, they were so, I remember one time clearly, they came in, and we are spectators, because at that time we were not into the seminar, but we were just taking it in, and our parents are accepting the culture, so we, gradually going into it. This seminar band came in, and they were so hot. They jumped up, and they actually jumped up in that rhythm. And the next thing we knew, our veranda floor was done. I'll never forget that. The veranda floor was totally, it just caved in. Everybody was just so excited. So
Boxing Day,
enjoying themselves. Yeah, I couldn't forget that part.
Because the whole village was the same as
Exactly, everybody was feeling
And nobody didn't say, well, I bet you those people they are not going there, that kind of a feeling. I don't know if it's those people there, those people that are bourgeois or whatever. They didn't have that to say.
I remember
when
you know, Zila Terrace and all that our generation thing. Atkins was like a carnival season, you know.
Yeah.
Quite big bright day, quite man on the road, and he's from house to house, and it's like a jump box. It's a mix of carnival and Christmas.
He put himself for almost all over the territory. I remember Badaka, you'd have guys Kent, and you'd have people all over the place. Vov and these other fellas would be going all over the place. But we have limited time, so I think that was about 3 more minutes, so we can round up. And so, what do you really want this Christmas? What do you want this Christmas? Because what do you really want to see this Christmas? What do you really want to see?
Well, we cannot bring back what was. But I think, you know, people should really do some introspection and, you know, ask themselves what really is the meaning of Christmas, and ask, as an individual, what can I do? What can I do to make Christmas Christmas?
Right.
And to give it the true meaning of Christmas. And that is not just about going to a shopping or, you know, going to a dance or going to a bar or something, you know. It's going back and getting back to really the root of it. Put back Christ in Christmas. And maybe things will change. Yeah. Because it's really, really going out of the window the way it's going. So honestly, I really like to see all midnight mass come back to what it was. And people really sharing and coming to church. And then after that, you know, you enjoy, nobody's saying don't enjoy yourself. But I think we should put Christ first, put Jesus first, and then, you know, everything will follow after. Because without him, we are nothing.
And I quite agree with you because it happened then, why can it happen now?
Exactly.
I mean, we have seen. So, what about you, Ax? Have you gone to see for this Christmas? I mean, you decide everything that you might.
You know, I do the music thing, so really. And you know, Kalinago has revived really the tradition, you know, I must say, because nowadays you take a drive down the road, down to Portsmouth, or wherever. Last year we went all the way to Kapushi, to the Hey Bush had there. We were coming up, Kalinago had there. Wesley had there. Maricot had there. When we got to Atkinson, well, I was really bad because people were sleeping already. Yeah. So it's getting there, and I'm happy about that. But I would really like to see more of caroling out there. People going out house to house and stuff.
So, Washla, it's your turn now.
It's my turn to Well, basically, I think what we have to do is really do a little bit of reflection and introspection about, as Ali said, the meaning of Christmas and because the whole idea is about peace, because all around us, what is it? So you know that thing. So the whole idea is it was always a season of goodwill. People kind of drop their little day among themselves, and you know. So let us continue maintaining that, and maybe spread the love a little bit more throughout the year rather than just Christmas alone, you know, and just keep the love going. That's your feel.
Yeah, I quite agree with you. So we said I think probably at the end production that somewhere along the line we probably need to get a nice little group together and probably organize. I mean, I know you have the same activities as well. Probably get to organize, we can at least recreate some form of what it used to be like. You know what I mean? If we have a big pot of yam boiling with smoked meat and would have somewhere, and probably a Christmas village where you come to see how it used to be like. Probably something like that. That could be a good start. But I want to say thank you for coming. I know I've got an impromptu role, but I'm very happy because I've learned a lot and I've seen Christmas at that level, but I'm very happy that I'm this to hear.
And just to say that Balaka will be Marigot on Saturday night. Alongside
Stick up in there. If you're going to be there, because I'm stick something. Stick up something. Look, I stick something. I was warning you. Don't worry you.
Yes, making those things.
That's one warning.
So this is DNO coming live from Croix River on this program called Nwèl, Ankò. So we're very thankful for those of you who have been following on this program. We're extremely thankful and grateful to you for staying with us. So we want to thank, of course, the management of DNO, Mr. Duran, and all the others who have been behind this program. And before we leave, to say goodbye, good night to you, we want to have a little bit of musical rendition by Mr. Larond.
This evening with us, we let's save that for last. So we have Vince, young guy here. We have Miss Alice Laron, former principal, of course, Alexin Laron, Panakayo, Gregory Raves, better known as Washer, and Tosi, Austin Cyril. So thank you, and hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Enjoy your Christmas.
Enjoy your Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, goodbye everybody. Bye-bye.